righty, welcome to the Suicide Prevention Punchline After Show with Frank King, Zara Khan, and our special guest, Lorraine. Lorraine, what is your last name?
Chambers.
Chambers, okay. Is that a married name? Have you been married previously?
Yes, 2 husbands. My first husband is a rock and roll musician who turned an accountant, and he was my starter husband. You know, everybody's got to have a starter husband. So he went through change of wife. It happens.
And second husband?
Second husband is a younger man from Ireland, and even though we've been married since 2005, it's kind of been the rocky road to Dublin. It's not always been on the same page, but he's still my best friend. We still sporadically live together, maybe in the same house, separate rooms, but I know he's there for me, and he's there for me, and I'm there for him. So I'd rather have a longtime friend, and hey, if anything happens to him, you know, his pension, same with me. So it's a win-win.
Nice. I see.
Water out until you get clean.
So that's why you get a husband.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh my God. I
really need one.
There's so many women that hold on to that last husband. And the thing is, as we get older, what we're told, sorry about this, Frank, is that men are looking for a nurse with a purse. Now I know a lady who's driving around with 2 dead husbands' ashes in her car. And when she told me this, I said, you are a nurse with a purse driving a hearse. So.
Oh, thank you very much. Well, I work the cruise ships. I work the longer runs, 30, 60, 90 days. And there are a goodly number of men on the ship looking for a nurse and a purse. It's very common.
Oh, you know,
for I guess the younger folk, what does nurse with a purse mean?
Nurse and a purse.
They're looking for someone to take care of them, and you know, when they get to that depend stage and the depend diaper stage, and then they're looking for somebody who's got some dinero, some moolah, some money, and then of course there's that final journey.
Oh,
and on the ship,
cars, you're just and then cruise ships are losing people all the time. I hear every cruise loses a person.
Oh yeah, they have a morgue on the ship. They have a couple of spaces. If they lose too many people, you know that because one morning in the Lido there are no bananas. The next morning in the Lido, bananas are everywhere because they needed a cooler space to put the body.
Oh my God.
Yeah, one morning there was all these plantains all over the place, little tiny bananas, and I said maybe it was a little person who died. There's also something on the cruise ships, on the 30, 60, 90-day cruise ships. Because there are so many more women than men, they hire men to be dance hosts. To dance with the ladies.
Nice.
Yes, but back to the nurse and the purse, the staff calls them hostitutes because a lot of them are looking for a nurse and a purse.
Hey, listen, if they look like Brad Pitt did in that movie Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I'll dance with them and then some. Oh my God, Brad Pitt is 55 with his shirt off on top of a roof. Gives whole new meaning to handymans and tool bells.
That's true.
Goodness. I want to get a guy.
So let's.
Oh, go on. You go on. Sorry.
No, I want to get a guy who.
Making you uncomfortable with our talk of guys?
Oh, I want to give him a champion shirt like Brad Pitt's and a yellow Hawaiian shirt and tight jeans and a tool belt. And I just want to look at it. Doesn't have to do anything. In fact, I'll put him to work. I got so much work to do at my rental. I'll just watch them work. I'll just bake brownies and, do you want a beer, honey? And you want to stay here? You know.
Well, I'll have you know, Lorraine, that I'm 150 pounds of abs of steel and sex appeal. So.
There's a Hawaiian shirt and a champion T-shirt waiting for you. Come out to California, or I'll come to do you.
But he's taken. He's got a wait.
Yes, my lovely wife who's been married 34 years, which is about 3 comic marriages.
That is. Wow. Well, then we can just be friends. Don't worry.
Yes, we can be friends, yeah. And I had a starter marriage. I was married to my high school sweetheart for 4 years, 11 months, and 19 days.
Oh, wow. You weren't counting, were you?
No, people say, can you act? Well, I acted like I was happily married for 4 years, 11 months, and 19 days.
Yeah.
So tell us about your first, in 2011, you decided to take the plunge and do stand-up. So tell us about that.
Oh, it's been really great. I started at the Harp Inn in Costa Mesa on 17th Street. Sharon Brannigan was the host. It was $100. And I learned a quick lesson. When people are clapping, don't leave the stage. I thought, oh, well, they clapped, and then I walk off And then it was like, no, you stay on the stage. So some cute blonde, she won. And I really needed that 100. So then I met Carlise Burke at a Mary Kay meeting. She was the only black lady there. And I went up to her and I said, how do you know Sandra, the flamingo teacher? And she goes, I know. What is my black ass doing in Irvine? So and so we became good friends, and she needed someone to take care of her taxes. And I said, well, I'd like to be a better comedian. She goes, well, I do comedy training. And we did it in Long Beach at an LGBT teenage like youth center, which used to be a morgue. So I went, and there was 6 of us, and we got to do our debut on St. Patrick's Night 2012 at Hot Java off of, I forget the street, but it's off of Oceanfront near downtown Long Beach. And I opened for Sherry Shepherd. Sherry Shepherd was there. She was at the time on Dancing with the Stars. And we had deaf people in the audience. And I should find that reel of that performance, because a guy named Michael videotaped everyone. But he would do sign while I did my comedy, and it was awesome. Yeah. I had him do a little bit of Irish dancing with me on stage. So. And in fact, at one point he talked, and I went, you talked? And he did the, thing of like a mime. So it was fun.
See, this is why we have video podcasts, guys, so we can do act outs.
Oh yeah, definitely. So that's how my comedy journey started. I've done the Ice House and opened for Fraser Smith, which was so awesome. I mean, it was just, one of those nights where everybody's name's in the thing. But I was such a fan of Fraser Smith's from when he was at KROQ. And when he came on Friday night at 7 o'clock, he put on Bowie's Panic in Detroit. And I went in and saw the madman behind the screen. He had a raincoat on, and he had a jar glass full of broken glass. And he'd be screaming, jiggling it. And I was like, oh my gosh. Well, I was giving him a cassette of my husband's band, and the band was called The Hurt. And he was like, oh, okay, well, I'll let him know. And then here, fast forward, I think, well, my mom was still alive, so it was 2016. I met Fraser Smith, and the day before I met Jim Carrey, because I was at the Television Critics Association. I'm a writer with a website, the Hollywood Times Today. And they were, the night before, were showcasing that TV series Jim Carrey had on Showtime, I'm Dying Up Here. And that's an interesting
Lord, oh God, I love that thing.
So do you know the story of that, Sarah, about that book, I'm Dying Up Here?
No, I don't.
Okay. Frank, would you mind if I share that real quick?
No, because, it's very much like Mitzi Shore in the Comedy Store, and some of the characters, it's almost like a documentary of the early days of comedy at the store in LA. Right.
Well, I have a friend, Susan Brado, who was the recording secretary for that strike. What went on, Zara, was the book was written by an LA Times columnist who was covering the strike. And what happened was it was the beginning days of video comedy things on TV. And what happened was the club owners were making money, but not the artists. And the artists at least wanted $25 for their opening slots. I mean, they weren't even asked about their rights being on TV or residuals, nothing. And that was wrong. Yeah. So she has the actual piece of paper. It's really big, like a picture. It's probably like 3 feet by 4 feet of all the signatures of the comedians who were on strike. And unfortunately, it's no longer in a frame, and she's had some cats that have kind of left their mark on it, but it's still worth it, this document. But it's like Jay Leno signed it, David Letterman, Seinfeld, all these people signed it. But what happened was anybody who was involved in that was blacklisted. Never could perform on the East Coast or West Coast, and she was having to just keep traveling. And she's a member of some different organizations that are helping her from how tough it was those years being on the road. And she told me, that book is very personal. She was called Susan Switzer back then. But
the guy jumped off the hotel across the street.
Yeah. Well,
comic guy.
He was actually, because isn't there a hotel next door, like the Hyatt?
Yeah, he jumped off near the store. He jumped off there, I think.
Yeah, he jumped. When he jumped, he landed in the parking lot of the comedy place, and he had a note in his pocket to. And I think he left a suicide note, and it was to keep striking. why he did it was he was already off balance as it was. He was seen in the first protest line, and he just happened to go by to see what was going on. He had a gig that night in La Jolla. Mitzi called the club and said, "Don't let this guy perform. He was in the protest line."
Oh, wow.
That guy used his last bit of money to go there, and he was supposed to be there for the weekend. And he came back so destitute and brokenhearted, he ended his life. So
that's where I started my comedy career with the store in La Jolla.
Yeah. So what was that about your comedy career started in La Jolla?
Yeah, at the Comedy Store in La Jolla, and then the Improv came to San Diego, and I became house MC. And by the time I got to the Comedy Store in La Jolla, Mitzi she had paid regulars. She had guys and gals that, you know, because of the strike and all that, they were now getting whatever, $25, $35 a set. That was the dream, was to go to LA, audition for Mitzi, and become a paid regular.
Wow. Is that something?
Which I didn't. Yeah. I went up and died a horrible death and went home crushed and depressed. And I thought, you know what? One angry, bitter Jewish woman is not going to make my career or take away my career.
Yeah.
So I did what everybody else did. I went on the road.
So you probably knew Susan. Did you remember her?
Well, this is 1984, 85. So I think I was after, she may remember me. What was her last name? What was her real last name?
Brado, Susan Brado.
Huh.
She worked at the Pantages Theater. She was married to a musician, Johnny, and they lived in the valley, San Fernando Valley. She was from Houston, and she used to work for Cream magazine. It was a rock and roll publication.
Well, if she ever came down to La Jolla during those years, then I was there being a doorman and doing open mic nights. And Mitzi would send Argus down about once a year to dry out.
Oh, wow.
She would banish him from the store in LA to come down, and he finally went to Betty Ford and got clean, I think, after many years.
Wow. So do you know what Betty Ford is, Zara? It was one of the first, how would you describe it, Frank? One of the first places for people to dry out for celebrities?
Yes, where Betty Ford.
What do you mean dry out?
Cover up.
Yeah.
What?
Get clean and stay clean. Yeah, because Betty Ford was one of the first high-profile people to come out and say, "I've got a problem."
Oh, I see.
Before that, it was like depression and thoughts of suicide. Nobody talked about it. You know, Alcoholics Anonymous was anonymous for a reason.
Okay.
Right.
And Betty Ford's, I think, was one of the first where.
Yeah, she was married to, what was that president's name, his first name? Something Ford.
Gerald Ford.
Yeah.
Gerald Ford, yeah. So that was important. I'm sure there was a lot of other wives that had issues, but we didn't know, about what went on.
Yeah.
I mean, now that stuff has come out about JFK, I mean, God, he was jacked up literally on a lot of drugs because of his back. And then he was very promiscuous too.
Yeah, because his back. You think?
Yeah. And the Irish idolized John F. Kennedy. I mean, everybody's house had a picture of JFK because he's Irish. And I hate to say it, I'm not a fan anymore. I'm just like, wow, you had a wife and you did all this. And the thing about Marilyn, that, in fact, I'm going to walk around the studio and show you a cool picture. We have a painting here of Marilyn that is just beautiful. So can I flip around so you can see, or maybe it might mess things up?
No, go ahead. That's why we do the video.
I'm just going to stand behind everything.
Yeah,
so Marilyn, there she is.
I don't think she killed herself. I don't think she killed herself.
Oh, wow.
I don't think so either. Yeah, I think Marilyn, she hit a few points with people that didn't do well. And this painting is for sale. And I get 20% commission. So not Marilyn, she could be in your living room on your couch and you will help pay my rent. Every little bit helps. But it's fun. I mean, this is kind of cool. I can walk outside and show you where I am. So yeah, I'm here, tough life, painting art out here in the sunshine, Newport Beach. I don't know if you can see the boats. No, it's too bright. Yeah, so it's a nice little corner of the world. I'm down the street from the Cannery restaurant. I don't know if you can see that. No, it's just way too bright. So yeah, I just make the most of wherever I am. I bloom where I'm planted. I've been to Ireland 10 times and I'd love to live in Ireland. My goal is next summer to do comedy in Ireland.
Oh.
So I want to do that. And I helped Sean, that comedian, Sean McBride. because he said he had Irish roots. I said, oh, you got to go to Ireland. Ireland will love you. See, now I got a llama behind my back. So this is what I like about painting. It's just, they say you use your left and right side of your brain, and it makes you happy. Then we get dark art. This lady here, Liz, she does dark art. And I know she's dealing with a lot of stuff in her life. And paintings reflect, I think, where people are. Mm-hmm. So, sure. This is more super happy stuff. So that's the thing with like mental health is talking. If we don't talk, who's going to know we have issues? It is a darkness. And like Zara, when you go on stage and you tell people that you were recommended to do comedy to help you, just you saying that opens up so many avenues of conversation for people to be like, wow, she's up there, she's telling the truth. What does that mean? What should I be doing? So it's really awesome that you are doing what you're doing. Sorry, I'm getting the cord for the phone. But Frank, how
Zara
did
you? Zara was one of the first comics I know who found her voice that quickly on stage. Most people, myself included, it took me decades to find my voice.
Yeah. Right. No, and it's an art, it's like I'm so proud and envious, not jealous because jealousy is negative, but I'm so proud of Zara and then making connections like now I know you, Frank. So in fact, I'm going up to, you're in Portland up in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, I'm in Eugene. We live in Eugene.
Okay, because I'm going to a wedding October 13th of my niece. So she's, I think, Vancouver, Washington. So I don't know how far away that is. But we'll have
across the river from Portland.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I don't know that area at all. So if we could keep in touch, I'm just going up for a few days for the wedding. So this year I have 2 weddings and a grandson. So I'm just hoping there's going to be no funerals because I went through, let's see, my brother passed away 2015, 14 months later my mom passed away. I lost another family member the day before St. Patrick's Day, and then an aunt in Ireland died late March, and then I took off. I had a little bit of inheritance money, and I just went to Ireland. In fact, I went to Ireland twice in 1 year. In fact, I had a ticket for a 3rd time, and it was in December because an older brother had gone, and I realized I think I might have been a little bit, I worry sometimes that I might be a little bit manic and get caught up with stuff, and I decided not to go to Ireland. I was like, Ireland in November is really cold.
You manic? Come on.
No, and
Zara, you're gonna be in Portland coming up for a comedy festival, correct?
Well, I haven't gotten in, so I don't know. Maybe we'll see.
Should she take me? Should I be her room mom?
That'd be dope.
Yes, absolutely.
I think they're still taking submissions. It's called, if you go to theportlandcomedyfestival.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, text me afterwards if you can remember. I have nothing to write with right now, and I don't want to go. I'm holding the phone. So.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I brought my iPad, and I got a Wi-Fi thing from a neighbor at the Dock restaurant, but it didn't pull up, so I'm glad I have my phone. So technology has really been a lot of advancements for us, if you think of it, even though to sound...
Well, in terms of making money, Lorraine, give me a call offline. Zara can give you my phone number. I think,
okay.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Zara, I believe Lorraine should be speaking.
Oh, yeah.
I was doing stand-up.
Yeah.
I would really like that. My stand-up, I've been more kind of the Seinfeld venting, so I'm not doing, great jokes like Zara does. I just, I can't always remember stuff. But I have friends that'll ask me to do silly things. Like one of my yoga friends told me a story about this lady when we were at a trip, and they call it the Mad Irish Woman. And it's a funny bit because this lady had her coolers by the pool. And what happened was the lady was told by the, pool security, well, you can't have your cooler by the pool with the glass. And this lady was indignant. And she was like, I know my rights, damn it. I'm a mad Irish woman, and you can't tell me what to do. And I was like, she wanted me to do that. And one of those paid for hire comedians, like, oh, you want me to do that? Sure. So we Marco Polo each other now, and that's our go-to thing. I'm an Irish woman and I know my rights, damn it. So yeah, I'll do anything for a laugh.
Well,
You
and
know,
Zara
and that's
will
why I'm
tell you
looking
that,
forward to being a granny.
yeah, Zara will tell you, having a brand and speaking, you'll make about 10 times what you'd make on a comedy, at a comedy show, factor of 10.
Yeah, at least.
Sure.
Make a lot.
Okay.
So tell us how we
I'm
get in
there.
touch with you again
I'm there.
before we sign off.
It's a long word. Emerald Lorraine on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.
Sweet.
And I have 2 books coming out, so look for Lorraine Chambers. Yes, thank you very much.
Absolutely. And thank you guys for listening to the after show of the Suicide Prevention Punchline with Frank King and Zara Khan. If you enjoyed this show, please tell your friends. If you didn't like the show, we hope you've got no friends. Please rate, review, and subscribe. It does really help. Thanks, Lorraine. Thanks, Zara.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, guys, we're done.
Oh, thank you. And bye.
Okay, see you later.
Yeah, and
All
Lorraine,
done?
if you do have an interest in speaking,
Thank you.
you know, speaking fees start out at about $5,000 a pop. So, especially with your experience,
Okay.
you know.
Oh no, please. Okay. No, I need money. I need to have my own place. So I need to put money away to have my own place because it's tough being just in shared housing. I'm over it. I just want to make money to grow old gracefully and fun and help others because you know I know the pain of what it's like to have.
Give me my number from Zara. Give me a call. Yeah, give me my number from Zara. Give me a call and I'll give you the 411 on getting started on that.
Okay. All right. Zora,
All right,
would you
kids.
text me his information or email it to me? Okay. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.